It is midnight. Thanks for staying up late with us. COVID cases continue to surge across our country tonight, triggering Los Angeles to reinstitute a mask mandate. Meantime, Las Vegas and New Orleans, they're recommending people wear masks inside again. So given that we're seeing the number of positive cases and hospitalizations going up here, we were wondering tonight, would Indy consider putting a mask mandate back in place? And tonight we learned that option is not off the table.
Oftentimes, it takes one decision, and others will follow. First, a new mask mandate in Los Angeles County, now mayors in Philadelphia and New Orleans recommending them for everyone, indoors regardless of vaccination status.
We know that masking works. We've seen this movie over and over again.
Here in Indiana, as the Delta variant fuels a rise in average cases, Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett says he's closely watching.
I think with the Delta variant, the country and Indianapolis have seen an uptick in the number of positive cases.
But as of yet, there has not been a conversation of any new restrictions.
We're not at a point where I think any more restrictions are necessary.
The county was among the last in the state to roll back mask mandates, even as they were eliminated across the state. And while there are no plans for any new mandates, that doesn't mean they're off the table.
We always have to do what is in the best interest of the health and safety of the community. We'll be mindful and keep an eye toward the numbers. These decisions are made by data and science.
The hope, of course, is that things don't get any worse, and there's a clear path to make sure that doesn't happen.
Almost exclusively, those who are testing positive for coronavirus today are those who have chosen not to get a vaccine. So I want more shots in arms because it protects people.
Governors tonight are struggling with this COVID response. Alabama, for instance, has the lowest vaccination rate in our country. The governor of Alabama says the rising cases are a self-inflicted pain.
Folks supposed to have common sense. But it's time to start blaming the unvaccinated folks, not the regular folks. It's the unvaccinated folks that are letting us down.
Governor Ivey went on to say it's up to people to get the vaccine and take care of themselves. She encouraged her residents to get vaccinated. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki responded to those comments today, saying it's not our job to place any blame.
But what we can do is provide accurate information to people who are not yet vaccinated about the risks they are incurring, not only on themselves, but also the people around them. But we're not here to place blame or threats. We're here to provide accurate information.
The White House went on to tell us they have reached a pivotal moment in this pandemic and is now considering whether mask guidance should change.
Across the country, hospitalizations are up by more than 50% in the past 2 weeks as that highly transmissible Delta variant continues to spread. Right now, Louisiana reporting the most new infections per capita, with Arkansas, Missouri, and Florida close on its tail. The virus is striking more and more unvaccinated young people.
We do know that in our ICUs, we are seeing younger people intubated who are very sick or who are on the floors and are very sick. That should be a gigantic wake-up call.
And a doctor in Alabama sharing a harrowing story on Facebook about a seriously ill patient who thought the virus was a hoax, begging for the vaccine when it already was too late.
So tonight we took a look at the Indiana numbers, and we're not seeing the same kind of strain on the healthcare system here. At the moment, we've got about 31% of the ICU beds are empty, and that number has been pretty steady recently. COVID patients fill up about 6% of the ICU beds, and that's the number we're keeping a close eye on because it's beginning to inch up as cases and hospitalizations increase. So you may be wondering, well, what does this mean in terms of the number of patients? Let me show you. Last night we had 141 COVID cases in the ICU, and you can see here, you can see the steady increase that we've seen here in the last 10 days. And this number is about twice as high as the number that we were seeing here at the beginning of July. And it also puts us back to the same place that we were at the beginning of June. And tonight, the Marion County Health Department is offering recommendations for the new school year, which, as you know, is fast approaching. And it's similar to what many schools, including IPS, have already announced. Masks are recommended for all unvaccinated students, teachers, and staff. Students should maintain 3 feet of social distancing. They also recommend at least 10 days of quarantine for anyone who comes into contact with someone with COVID-19. And check this out, a Bible camp in Iowa had to send 200 elementary school-age kids home after a COVID outbreak there. 8 staff members tested positive. Most of the staff was vaccinated or had COVID last year. Right now, there are no reports of any of the campers testing positive.
Sean Penn now is threatening to delay production of his new show, all because of COVID. The actor says he's not going to return to the set of Gaslit until the entire cast and crew are vaccinated. Deadline reports NBC Universal requires vaccines for those who are in the Zone A. That includes the cast and those who are in close proximity. Penn, however, wants that requirement extended to include everyone who's on the project. Gaslit is a political drama, also starring Julia Roberts. It's set to air on Starz later this year, but again, it could be delayed because Penn has not wrapped up his scenes just yet. Penn's organization CORE has been helping with the vaccine effort, opening vaccine testing sites in the state of California.